Brad Pitt built one of the most iconic careers in Hollywood history. But behind the fame, the Oscars, and the magazine covers was a man fighting battles the cameras never fully captured, and carrying losses no amount of success could undo. He was born on December 18, 1963, in Shawnee, Oklahoma, and raised in Springfield, Missouri, the eldest of 3 children in a disciplined, faith-rooted household. His father ran a trucking company. His mother, Jane, worked as a school counselor and filled their home with warmth. They were a First Baptist family, structured, devout, and anchored in certainty. For a curious, restless boy who had more questions than answers, that environment created a quiet tension. He later described guilt as the part of that upbringing he found hardest to carry. He smiled, played sports, and looked like he belonged. Internally, something was already pushing outward. Movies became his escape. Dark theaters gave him permission to imagine a bigger life, one where doubt and failure weren't signs of weakness. So in 1986, 2 credits short of his journalism degree at the University of Missouri, he loaded a battered Datsun with $325 and drove west. He didn't have a plan, he had a feeling. Los Angeles handed him humility first. He delivered refrigerators, drove performers to gigs, and spent time in a chicken costume outside a fast food restaurant. He paid for acting classes, showed up to auditions, and spent years collecting small TV roles that kept the lights on without building a career. Then came Thelma and Louise in 1991. A few scenes, a cowboy hat, and the kind of screen presence that stops a room. Everything changed almost overnight, though he later admitted he felt he'd under-delivered in that very scene. That self-criticism never left him. What followed was 2 decades of extraordinary work. A River Runs Through It, Sev7n, Fight Club, Troy, and finally, an Oscar for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in 2020. But he has spoken openly about spending much of that time running from his own emotions, drinking heavily, avoiding the feelings piling up beneath the surface. He later reflected that you either deny those feelings your whole life, or you answer them and grow. For a long time, he chose avoidance. His personal life carried its own weight. A broken engagement to Gwyneth Paltrow. A high-profile marriage to Jennifer Aniston that ended in 2005 after 5 years. Then his relationship with Angelina Jolie, which began amid significant public controversy, produced 6 children and a marriage in 2014, before a very public and painful separation in 2016. According to reports, allegations were made about an incident on a private flight. Pitt has disputed those claims, and no criminal charges followed. The divorce was finalized in December 2024, though legal disputes continued. Reports suggest some of his children have taken steps to distance themselves from his surname, though the full nature of those private relationships remains unknown. He entered therapy, got sober, and rebuilt from the inside out. By 2022, he had been sober for nearly 6 years. Work kept him grounded, including the 2025 film F1, which became the biggest box office success of his career. Then came the loss, nothing prepared him for. On August 5, 2025, his mother Jane died at 84. Weeks earlier, during a television appearance, he had waved at the camera and said simply, "Love you, Mom." He didn't know it would be the last public message he'd ever send her. Some goodbyes don't announce themselves. At 62, Brad Pitt isn't Hollywood's golden boy anymore, and that might be exactly the point. He's a man who found that fame shields you from almost everything except the things that matter most. If his story resonates with you, hit like and subscribe for more honest portraits of the people behind legendary names.